why it is structured that way. You might be tempted to jump right into the hot topics: porn, hooking up, sexual orientation, gender identity, racism, atheism, whatever. And of course, we need to think carefully about every one of those issues. However, that approach won't be as helpful. Why? Because each of these smaller, isolated issues fits into a much bigger picture. Just like a single paragraph in a full-length book won't make much sense apart from the larger story, God's thoughts on an individual topic won't make as much sense without understanding His larger story of the world. So, you'll need to patiently and thoughtfully work your way through parts 1 and 2, because the knowledge you'll gain in those chapters will help you make sense of the specific topics we'll cover in part 3. Lastly, just like a surfer needs the right equipment, a good wetsuit, a custom-shaped board, sunscreen, you'll need some good tools too, and that's what we'll give you in part 4. Are you ready to begin? You have to study, train, and practice before you paddle out into the ocean to ride serious waves. Likewise, preparation will get you ready to paddle out into the culture, and reading this book is an essential step in your training. Let's go. Part 1. Why you should care about culture. Chapter 1. What culture is and how it shapes us. If you want to know what water is, don't ask the fish. Ancient Chinese proverb. Fish don't know they're wet. In one sense, of course, there is nothing fish know more than water. They spend their entire lives in it. But the proverb above highlights how hard it is to know, understand, and evaluate the environment we're in all the time. It can even be difficult to realize that we're in an environment, which makes it impossible to resist the surrounding conditions. What we're immersed in just becomes the norm. Culture is to humans what water is to fish. The environment where we live and move and eat and work and play and, therefore, think is normal. But there's a big difference between us and fish. We create our own environment. Fish don't. Think about it. Human beings impose themselves on the world in a way that animals don't and can't. Animals take the world as it is and then live in that world. They eat, sleep, and reproduce. That's about it. Fish or dolphins or wolves or lions aren't getting together to create cultures or entire civilizations. That's utterly unique to human beings. We take the world and then form our own new little worlds out of the larger world. Our ability to create culture makes us vastly different from animals. But like fish in water, we can become so immersed in our ways of thinking and patterns of living that we develop blind spots and lose sight of how culture shapes us. We lose our ability to see problems and find it hard to resist the temptation to do what everyone else is doing. Think of being unaware of the sheer beauty of a mountain you've always lived near, or not recognizing the dysfunction of an abusive family because it's the only kind you've ever known. In the same way, culture shapes our perception of reality in ways we don't always recognize. If we don't do the hard, intentional work of examining the world around us, it won't occur to us that things should be any different. Few things shape us like the ideas, customs, habits, and influences of culture. So it's vital we become fully aware of the cultural forces impacting our lives. Of course, as Christians, our truest identity is determined by God. Scripture tells us we are the pinnacle of God's creation. We bear His image. See Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 28. As such, we're much more than mere products of culture. This is critical because how a culture views and values human life plays a huge role in whether it's healthy or not. Of all the reasons to be intentional to make sense of culture, this is the most important. We must never lose sight of the biblical vision of who we are as the most precious of God's creation.